Hi, my name is Victoria Johnson, and I'm a lifeguard at the Elk Point Community Swimming Pool. I have been a lifeguard and swimming lesson instructor for 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. Today, I'm going to teach you how to properly do a dive. There are 3 steps in a dive, and the first I'm going to teach you is how to do your arms. Second, I'm going to show you how to position your legs, and finally, I am going to give you some exercises to put everything together. So let's start off with your arms. There are 2 ways that I recommend to my students how to position their hands. You can have one hand over top of the other. It doesn't matter which hand. Typically students use their dominant hand on top. Or you can take your 2 hands and put them together. This will give you momentum to dive into the water. The next step is to raise your hands above your head, and I always tell my students to squeeze their ears as hard as they can. This makes sure that you can glide in at a fast rate, and it keeps everything together. The next step is your legs. You want to position your legs together at the edge of the pool, and I tell them to have their heels touch and their toes touch, their big toe to touch. And you can bend your knees a little bit, but not at a 90-degree angle. Or you can have one foot in front of the other. Typically their dominant foot is in front, but you always want to remember to keep them a little bit bent, your knees a little bit bent, so that you can gain momentum and glide into the pool. Now I'm going to give you some exercises how to do your dive. This succession teaches students to get the feel for the dive, and then they get faster and faster and really improve. So the first step in the succession is to do a double kneeling dive. You have both of your knees touching the edge of the pool and position their arms like I taught them, and basically belly flop into the water. No, they're not doing a dive yet, but it helps in the succession. The next step is to do a one-footed kneeling dive. It doesn't matter which foot is up first, as long as they can use one foot to push off and glide into the water. Since we are doing a deep water dive, you want to make sure that the water is at least 10 foot deep just to be safe, because these students don't know how to do a proper shallow dive yet. So I have them curl their toes over the edge of the pool with one knee up and one knee down, and I grab their ankle and help them push off and glide into the water. This gives them a more realistic feel to the standing dive. The next step in the succession is to do a complete standing dive. Like I said, you can have your feet touching, or you can have one foot forward. And then they slightly bend their knees, position their arms like I told them to, and then push off and glide into the water. This is how you do the full standing dive. So let's recap. I taught you how to do your arms. You can have one hand over the other or put them together, and you want to raise them above your head and glide into the water. Next, I taught you how to position your legs, and finally I gave you some exercises to improve your dive.